Wow, we got fancy studio lights here today. So cool. I don't think I've ever had to shoot in something like this. It's really awesome. We are being here today with Chris from Black Project. Haven't talked to Chris in a while, and Chris is frequently visiting Europe, and so we are really interested on what's going on in Europe and how's business and everything. Your recent trip to England.
Great. Yeah, it's been really good to spend some time in the UK recently, and I've been to go to some races. I got invited to head of the dart race, which was amazing. It was a race I'd always seen, and every time I'd kind of tried to register for it, it was always sold out within hours. So luckily then this time they gave me a special invite and a media place, so I got to go and paddle the head of the dart. I was blown away, really. It's 300 people paddling on a river. It was beautiful sunshine. It was just really hard racing, and I thought that I was just going to take it easy, but no, of course, competitive spirit takes over, and just absolutely racing for, I think it's like 16 kilometers or something like that. So for me, that was quite a long distance. I'm used to shorter things. So it was just a fantastic experience, huge excitement, people just happy to be on the water, everything from people paddling on an inflatable all the way through to the top races and so on. So it was really great, a really fantastic experience, and hopefully I'll get to go again next year. But that was just the first race I went to, and I've been going to a few events. This year actually are sponsoring the UK series, so I've actually gone to a few more races, and luckily had some athletes come across to that. And seeing every race being really competitive, and 100 plus people every race all over the country, it's been really, really encouraging, because we don't see that. We don't see that here in Hawaii or California anymore. We used to see that, big races, but where I'm seeing it's all in Europe, Europe and Asia, and obviously there is racing in the US, but we're seeing less of it from our perspective. And so to go to Europe and to go to the UK, particularly spending more time, I've been focused in the UK really, is to see just how many people are paddling. Every weekend there's a different race somewhere or a paddle gathering, and I think that's really, really motivating, because we all work hard, and to see customers that you perhaps have known via email for a number of years, or perhaps never met, it's fantastic.
Interesting. They're busy with paddle races. People are participating. SUP as a business is going a little bit through a downturn. We're struggling, particularly in the area, in the Central European area. But the races are so heavily frequented, and they have no participation problems. How do you explain that kind of discrepancy?
I just look at sales figures really, and look at that, and I think the recreational part of the market, a lot of people bought inflatables or bought reasonable price gear that was pretty good, during the pandemic, before the pandemic, immediately after the pandemic. And that gear is still being used. And as I say, this race I was at, that's a great example. Headed dart. There's a lot of people, that's what they want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I saw last year and the last couple of years, we've seen that recreational side of our business, disappear largely. The adjustables and so on, that side of things. But the racing and the fitness and the touring side of things is going strong and is up. And people talk about the business, just about changing where the business focus is. And our highest selling paddle, the new Synergy, is our top selling paddle by a long way. And it replaced our previous top selling paddle, the Flow. So it's like at the highest part of the market, middle and above, the market's pretty good. So the Hydro Synergy Edge is the most expensive paddle ever launched in the industry. Yet it sells more than double the next paddle that we sell. So I think that is a kind of, you talk about that.
It's a very interesting mechanic.
People are racing because, and they're buying race equipment. But the people in recreationally aren't. So when I look at it and I think, well, hang on, as a sport, we're not competing against each other. We're competing against other recreational sports that you can do, right? So I look at it, and I look at competitors, I think my competitors are running or Peloton. So I look at the three things I do, more than three things I do, but three of the things I do will either be a water sport, whether it's paddling, windsurfing, surfing. That's one aspect. Running is the competitor to that. And Peloton is the competitor to that. So there's the three avenues to go down, and any given day, that's the choice. And I think that's who we're, as a business, as an industry, that's what we're facing. So there are a lot of things that people can do, and we've got to stop thinking about, competing against other brands and work with each other more, and help grassroots events and so on, as you're saying, keeping racing going. The people that I see come through the sport more now are interested in fitness and health. They're interested in other sports as well. And, you know, so that's who we've got. And I think we just need to channel into that, because that's a great group of people who want to be involved in a competitive sport, whether it's competitive as a group or just competitive against themselves, right? You know, I run most days, but I haven't been in a road race for 15 years, right? I've done it for fun 15 years ago, but I run every day, you know, and I think so I compete against myself. So I think those are the people I see a lot of, you know. In the UK, I paddle with a friend called John, and we just paddle on a river near the, you know, and it's beautiful. Just the two of us, we go paddle. He pushes me, I push him. It's fun. Don't need to go to the race necessarily to do that. And I think we find that a lot, particularly in the US. I see a lot of that now, is that people paddling in twos and threes or on their own, competing against themselves, but not traveling to big races.
Yet they're buying the most expensive race paddle that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which kind of contradicts the whole recreational, I never do a race or anything, but I do it recreationally, but I still want to have the top quality gear then.
Yeah, I mean, but then the same goes with running. You know, I don't buy cheap running shoes.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You don't race running and you don't run marathons, but you buy the most expensive shoes on the rack. Basically, that's how the customers are behaving.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. So, and I think there's a lot of the demographic as well is older. You know, is 40 plus, 40 to 65. And much older than that still. They're looking for equipment which is going to look after their body a little bit better over a longer period, and generally that means a nicely custom fitted paddle to suit their specifications. So they are looking for, they want to know about flex, they want to know about paddle size, they don't want to just take something for the rack, they want something which is customized to them. And let's face it, we think paddling is expensive, right? Compared to other sports. I mean, you go to boot and so on, right? Look at the size of these yachts and like, I mean, what are we even, we're looking at ourselves and say, I look at other people in the industry, and, you know, I talk about the Synergy being the most expensive paddle ever launched. It's $650 with a bag. Well, you go out for dinner. I mean, when was the last time you had for dinner? It's $100, right?
Yeah.
You know,
well, more than that.
Well, you got kids, right? So like, but like if I go to dinner with one friend, it's never less than $50 each, right?
Yeah.
So when you put in context with that, and a tank of gas is $60 here, you know. So I think we're locked in our mindset that we think that we're expensive. But if you compare it to other sports, you know, running shoes, right? A pair of running shoes I buy, they're $300, and they last 300 kilometers. Yeah, that's 3 months of running. So 3 months of running. Throw them away.
Busy guy, busy running. Right?
But yeah, it's a fight stress. If running a business, it's like,
tell me about it.
But so and we put in comparison, right? You know, if it's $1 a kilometer to run, paddling, you can pay $650 for a paddle, and it lasts you 3 years. Yeah. How many miles are you going to do? Kilometers are you going to do with that? So I think actually we've got to get in our mindset that we're actually really good value for money. Yeah. Compared to other sports.
Good point. Very good point. Well, this is all very super interesting stuff, and we're going to see you guys in the next video.